I'm completely different than the rest of these YouTube shills that are always pimping their trash and posting you affiliate links. Doesn't matter if it's good equipment or bad equipment, they will review anything in the hopes that you'll click on the link and possibly buy it, and that, of course, will make them money. I don't do that. I can't sit there and like hold trash in my hand or something that's just not that damn good. I say, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's got some faults, but you know, it's pretty good, you know? That's what all of these YouTube video reviews are like. They really are. You know it, and I know it. Now, this is not a video attacking Nikon. I'm a huge fan of Nikon. I've spent more money on Nikon equipment than any of you. I get tired of people saying, hey, you just keep attacking Nikon. I have to be rational and realistic. Here, basically in the middle of January of 2021. The only thing that Nikon could come out with, and maybe I'm jaded. I'm a little bit jaded. Anybody that's had so much camera equipment pass through their hands, you do become jaded. It becomes hard to impress you. It's kind of like some, you know, little, and I'm not rich at all. God, no. I wish if I was, I'd take a real vacation. You know, like some sort of spoiled brat that gets whatever he wants. Like, you can't impress him. You give him a new Lamborghini. It's like, oh, another Lamborghini. But there's nothing on the horizon from Nikon that is impressive. Nothing currently also either. I was extremely fair when I reviewed the Nikon Z6 Mark II. I told everybody its deficiencies. And one of the things that I pointed out, and it's identical in the Z6 Mark II as it is in the Z7 Mark II, is that the focus peaking sucks. Compared to what? That's always the question that has to be. Compared to what? It's pretty bad. It's even worse than Sony's, and Sony's is pretty damn bad. The only thing that Nikon could come out with, and it's their own patent, is a true hybrid DSLR/mirrorless. That's where the EVF is up in front of the pentaprism, and the mirror flips up out of the way, and the DSLR turns into a mirrorless camera. It would be the same size as a DSLR, but it would have all the advantages of a DSLR and nearly all the advantages, essentially all the advantages of a mirrorless camera. They could have done that and stuck with the F mount. That would have been absolutely incredible. But Nikon has been falling like a rock from financial difficulties the past several years. They keep losing money hand over fist. They're not going to make, they've announced they're not going to make cameras in Japan anymore. Is it that important? No. All my favorite Nikon cameras are, not all of them, but a lot of them are made in Thailand, including D850, Nikon D500. The very best ones like the D4, D4S, D3, D5, they are made in Japan. Nikon's announced that all that stuff is moving to Thailand. I have to ask the question about and there's a ton of reviews now about the Nikon Z7 Mark II. And interestingly enough, the one that everybody thinks is so reliable, by that same company that has a forum, which is owned by Amazon, by the way. They came out, and you can see the video review yourself of the Z7 Mark II from them. They said exactly what I said about the Z6 Mark II. Said it's not really that good for sports action wildlife. The tracking, the autofocus tracking still sucks. There are a large amount of deficiencies. The image output is awesome. But it's not best for sports action wildlife, and at a $3,000 price point, it's not best for hardcore landscape or portraiture or architecture. It's just not. Now, Nikon does have some really nice tilt-shift lenses, and I own several of them. Canons are best, by the way. People say I never praise Canon. Canon's tilt-shift lenses are the best for architecture, landscape. The camera doesn't have the best autofocus tracking. At $3,000, I could get a used GFX 50S or 50R, well 50R I can, for under 3,000 bucks. I mean, that'll mop the floor with the Nikon Z7 Mark II. Now, there's no issues with autofocus when it comes to landscape and architecture, or portraiture, you know? When you're doing portraiture, real portraiture, the person basically stands still. So autofocus is not an issue whatsoever. Yes, the GFX cameras are way slower than the Z7 Mark II or Z6 Mark II. Who cares for landscape portraiture and architecture? So the question that you need to ask yourself, and the question that the fact that I'm forwarding to you is why would I buy the damn camera? Or for the Z6 Mark II for that matter. Why? For sports action wildlife, it's not best. Even the other people that are reviewing the damn camera said that. They just did. Go look at their review. It's not best for that. So why the hell would you buy it then? Okay, it's 46 megapixels essentially of full frame. There's a lot of megapixels there. Sure is. But even the old sensor in the GFX 50S or 50R will mop the floor with it. Unless you are ignorantly trying to put forward that full frame sensor output is better than any medium format camera. It's not. If you say that, you're lying and or deluded. You just are. It's not important if you take that the wrong way or not. I mean, facts are facts are facts. There's not a single person on this earth with half a brain that's going to say, which would you rather have for landscape and architecture and portraiture? Medium format or full frame? Well, hello! The answer is medium format. So for $500 more, I could get a brand new GFX camera, as opposed to the Z7 Mark II. Obviously, the GFX 50R or 50S is not for hardcore sports action wildlife. Undeniably. But why the hell would I buy it for that? Because the Z7 and Z6 Mark II are not that damn good for hardcore sports action wildlife. They're not! The other reviewers will tell you that. They already did. Even the rumors site posted all the videos, and I watched all of them. They all said the same thing. It's like, is it what I told people that I keep attacking me for? It's just not that good for tracking. It's not. Literally, and of course they're inferior in quality and build quality and customer service, certainly so. Sony's a better camera, and I absolutely despise Sony. They're not a camera company. Their color matrix of their image output from image processing is really horrible. However, you can fix almost all of that in Lightroom, Photoshop, or Capture One. But do you want to, though? I can't stand Sony, yet a full-frame Sony, even though it's not made as well and the customer service sucks, is a more desirable beast for hardcore sports action and wildlife. The only reason I would want a 35mm full frame like that would be for hardcore sports action wildlife, or just sports action wildlife for general use. And the ergonomics in the Z6 and Z7 are great. Not awesome, but at least they have dual card slots and vertical grip capability. For $3,000, no. But it all depends on what you want. The autofocus tracking and autofocus speed is way better on a Fujifilm X-T4 than it is on either one of the Z6 or Z7. Well, that's a crop sensor camera. This is true, and that doesn't make a single bit of difference. However, Nikon does have the advantage in hardcore glass that Fujifilm does not have in the 500, 400, and 600 millimeter range. That's also, too, undeniable. So it doesn't have the speed for sports action wildlife or the tracking capability. And its price makes it a loser for landscape, portraiture, and architecture relative to a medium format GFX. So what the hell is it then? We have to ask about buying something unless you're just filthy with money and you just buy whatever you want. Why would I buy it? Is it best at something? The only question that nobody is asking themselves about these cameras, or any camera for that matter, is what is it best at? In other words, ABC XYZ camera is best at this, and it mops the floor with everybody else's face on this particular aspect of photography. For example, a GFX camera. Someone's like, well, this autofocus sucks, or it's slow, we can say relative to everything else. GFX 100 is actually fast. So why would I buy this camera? So let's ask ourselves the question. What the hell does the GFX series of cameras do that mops the floor with every other camera system? Image output. It's just stunning. The amount of latitude you have for editing in Capture One, Photoshop, or Lightroom is incredible. Everybody on earth wants a medium format camera. I don't care what you say. You say I'm wrong, you're a liar, or you just don't know any better. Everybody wants medium format. Medium format is not best for sports action wildlife. I'm saying everybody wants a medium format camera. Everybody does. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody does. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. People that think they don't are lying to themselves. And or they've never actually seen like a 600 megabyte TIFF file on like a 4 or 5K display where it's like, oh my God, look at that. It's that good. So why don't you start asking yourself the question, unless you're just filthy with money, what is this camera best at? Seriously, I mean, I'm asking you to be logical, honest, and wise. Ask yourself vis-a-vis the Z6. And by the way, I highly recommended the Z5. It's cheap, it's great. It's great for portraiture. It's kind of like a poor man's awesome full-frame camera. It is an awesome full-frame camera. It has 2 card slots, too. Ask yourself the question about the Z6 Mark II, Z7 Mark II. What the hell are these cameras so awesome at that, you know, everything else is just... Pfft. Is there any specific niche or thing that it does better than anything else, or is best at? And the answer to that question, knowing these cameras and having used and tested them, the answer is nothing. There is nothing special. It's kind of like an autistic person or something, you know, somebody that can do like long-form math. Like, you know, they're not very sociable, they're not good or good. I mean, they're really, really good. They're like the best person in the world at this, you know? You know what I'm talking about. They got that magic skill. Kind of like the guy that could listen to a song once, like a really, really, really complicated musical number, and it'll just like mimic it perfectly on the piano. I was like, wow, there's like one person in the world that can do that. You know, not very good at a lot of other stuff in life. You know, bless his soul or her soul. But that's the one thing that... And these cameras are not that. You can't say a single thing about them that they're... Wow, they really stand out at doing this. You can't do it, and I can't do it either. You'll say, why don't you buy it? You just hate Nikon now. No, I don't. I feel like I've spent a third of everything I've made for the past 30 years on Nikon. Don't give me that garbage. I spent more money than any of these frigging YouTubers out there on Nikon equipment. And that's not an exaggeration. I have. So don't call me a Nikon hater. You hate Nikon now. You're just a Fuji shill. I love it when people say that. It makes me laugh. Fake apple covered in gold. Real apple. This is, by the way, is a perfect analogy of what a Sony is. It's really shiny on paper, but you can't eat it, and it's no damn good, ultimately. This apple is made out of plaster of Paris, I believe. This is what a Sony is. Why don't you like Sony? Like, how many hours do you have for me to tell you why I don't like Sony? Because Sony's not a camera company. They're a consumer electronics company. And it shows! Oh, dear God. Wait for it. Wait for the ending. Wait for it. Nikon. Namaste.